Welcome, welcome, welcome. Today must be Tuesday at 5 p.m. because you're in the right place at the right time. I tell you, we're going to have a very fun-filled show with information on today. My guest, Miss Kalinda, is waiting in the green room to come join us, and I'm so excited. She does so many things that I don't even know where to begin talking about her, but I'm going to let her talk about herself because she could probably tell me some things that I need to know about all the things that she does. And I'm so looking forward to finding out what some of those things are. So, without further ado, let me get over into my advertisement so that we can definitely get her on the air as soon as possible. All right, the first thing I want to do is talk about our healthcare heroes. You know, many people think that the pandemic is over. A lot of the agencies are saying, oh, it's over, you can go back out there. But our healthcare heroes are still seeing people getting sick and people are still dying. So I want to encourage you all to stay safe, wear your mask, stay away from people, stay 6 feet away, stay your distance because that's what you need to do in order to survive this thing. Wear your mask. It's not over with yet. Okay? So, shout out to all of our healthcare heroes. Another shout out to spiritual leaders that have been on the front line, that have been checking in with God to find out what's going on. And I tell you, they have been keeping us informed to the point where we know what to do and what not to do in a time like this. And a special shout out to my mentor, Dr. Lloyd Michael Hunt. Dr. Hunt has been with me for over 30 years. And I tell you, if it were not for him being with me, I don't know where I would wind up at. And I know it's no easy endeavor being with me 30 plus years. Okay, so shout out to him each and every time that I go live. All right, so now let's go over here, and I want to invite everyone out to my website, ask-dr-ron.com. And when you get over there, I want you to browse all of my advertisers. There's a few listed here, and these are some of the ones that I featured, when I do the show because they're the ones that make it possible for us to do what we do here on the show. RJ Web Solutions, Sir Synergy, Port Again Sam, and Prince Hunter Financial Group are just a few of the advertisers that are listed on the website. And I want to point out a couple of things about Sir Synergy. If you're interested in doing energy efficient, makeovers for your home, that is the company that you want to talk to and have them come out and do an assessment, and they will help you with solar panels and other options to help you make your house more energy efficient and or business. Port Again Sam, of course, brings in some of the best wines and spirits from all over the world. And I promise you, when you taste some of Sam's wine, you ain't gonna want to buy wine no place else. And then Prince Hunter Financial Group is one of the companies that are offering 4 free classes to anybody that reaches out to them and wants to learn how to do Forex or the stock market. He can help you learn and navigate your way. So he's giving away 4 free classes. So you click on any one of the tabs, any one of the banners, and it'll take you directly to their website, and you'll be able to learn and be able to get deals that you would not be able to get anyplace else. So don't forget, while you're over there, please check out all of my social media tabs as well. So now today's guest is an entrepreneur extraordinaire, and I tell you, she is a special guest, I should say, because it's not many females that do all the things that she do. I tell you, she's a model. She's into real estate. She's into the stock market. I tell you, without further ado, I want to welcome to the show Miss Kalinda. Hello, Miss Kalinda. How you doing today?
Good. How you doing? I feel like I should hear like applause in the
Oh
background.
no, we ain't got no fake soundtracks here. Well, this is your first
Well,
time
thank
on the
you.
show, so thank you for coming.
Yes.
I see baby boy over to the right side over there. You know,
Yeah, this is my business partner right here. The broke best friend slash who's gonna work for my company. So
okay. Well, he just checking to make sure his mama don't get in no trouble on worldwide network here. That's what it is. He's making sure he
yeah.
he makes sure you stay out of trouble today. That's what's up. Yes. Well, why don't you tell the audience about yourself and all the things that you do a little bit? Let's start with that.
Oh, that's an open-ended question right there. So you know what? Before I talk about where I am now, I always like to bring up the beginning because the beginning kind of paves the path and it shows you the direction that brought me to where I am. So, growing up, we moved around a lot, and I would consider myself a gypsy. My mother, she had us in, different types of schools. We had an amazing educational background. We were in great neighborhoods. We were in the hood, South Side, West Side. So having that background, I had experienced a lot of diversity,
Hmm.
and diversity is what's important and what's critical so that you understand how to communicate to different types of people. And diversity is what has been with me at the forefront throughout my entire life. So, education, Chicago State University graduate. I actually have a double bachelor degree,
Okay.
so it was a double major. It was art education. So I was supposed to be a school teacher, and then it was design.
Okay.
So graphics and art and things like that. So, there's that smart education. I can educate someone, I can teach somebody. And then there's that creative side. Let me, paint a mural or design something funky for you. So I think that's important to understand because then it kind of gives you an idea as to why I have the ability to wear so many different hats. So, you know, um, in college and after college, I participated in several art enthusiast art fairs. So I was an artist, so actually fine art
Okay.
painting. So I had a graphic art design degree, but I want to say my junior year of college, I found out I knew how to paint.
Wow.
And I was just in front of a canvas board one day painting some pictures, and it just kept getting better and better. And I applied for a grant actually in college. It was Kanye West design and creative grant that he had. So, he came to the school and he was presenting people with awards and things like that. But I found out I had a talent in that area. So I started doing a lot of fine art
Okay.
shows. So I won an award from Rod Blagojevich. I had sold a lot of paintings at different hospitals and things like that. So that's that creative area.
Okay.
So out of college, selling art and also developing websites. My first website that I developed was for a company called Spick and Span. And it was their clean their clean system. So it was Nuance Solutions, which was their green sector of cleaning
Okay.
products. So design, creativity, painting, selling art. So again, the backstory shows the forward story. So learning how to sell, learning how to advertise, and learning how to be an entrepreneur at a young age. So one of my first jobs ever was for a company called Black on Black Love. Not even a company; it was a nonprofit organization called Black on Black Love, which was founded by Edward C. Gardner, who was the CEO of Soft Sheen Carson.
Yeah.
So, working there, I worked under the auspices of a lady by the name of Frances E. Wright. She was the executive director, and she kind of taught me and kind of pulled me under her wing like I was a daughter.
Okay.
So, I had the opportunity to learn how to write grants, and again, being in a nonprofit sector, you have the ability to work with different types of people and different stages and phases in their life, and you have the ability to learn how to navigate the corporate world from a in-kind donation perspective.
Yes.
So, creativity, art, entrepreneurship, now nonprofit organization,
Okay.
and from there, um, I had when I left that organization, I had this grand idea. I'm like, I think I was about 24, 25, and I'm like, you know what? I want to host a gala.
Mm.
And I called one of my friends up and I'm like, I want to host a gala. And she's like, a gala? Okay. I said, yeah, let's host a Christmas gala because, I worked at a nonprofit organization and I learned how to go out to vendors and ask for free stuff. And when we were younger, my mom, she was a single parent mom. And there was this organization called the Frank Zuccarelli's Christmas Tree
Okay.
Program that
Yeah.
actually donated to us.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, I know an organization that I want to give money back. And also, I want to give some toys away for Toys for Tots. And hey, let's do it at the end of the year because people are trying to get their tax write offs anyway.
Right.
So in 30 days, I found a venue who provided me their venue for free. I had about 7 comedians. Wildcat was my host. I had Olive Garden that they provided with me with all my food for free, and I had sponsors
Good
galore.
for you.
So I hosted and I wanted a venue where it was for African American people to come and get dressed up and enjoy themselves. Sandy Red, who's now, I know her as Melinda Bussey, but she's known as Sandy Red. She was on The Voice. She was our singer there, and we had a rock band and everything. It was an amazing turnout.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Sandy
that
is a friend
happened.
of the show. She's been on here before. Yes. Yes.
Yes,
Definitely.
me and her actually used to work together, so that was our introduction to
Yeah.
each other.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, you're moving kind of fast. Let me slow down. Slow you down a little bit because I know you got a lot to tell. First thing I want to do is give a shout out to some of the people that are watching. Jed is watching.
Okay,
We've got Miss Gore all the way down in Florida. She's also a radio personality. She's watching.
we need your weather.
Yeah, for sure. And we have Miss Karen Abbott Trimmel, which is her fault how you and I met. So I'm gonna give her all the
Yes.
blame and all the credit at the same time. So if anything happens, it's her fault.
That's big sister right there. She's
Yeah,
amazing.
Karen is a friend to the show. She's been on the show before too. So now you said a couple of things that have sparked questions. Now you said you had
Okay.
discovered that you are a canvas artist. So, are you the type of artist that will take a picture or a Polaroid and paint it, or do you freestyle, abstract, or what would you say is your area?
I would consider myself a mixed media artist. I love texture. And I have a combination. I have a style of both. Sometimes I'll just go paint somebody's face and then throw some sand and some rocks on it and have some textures on it. And then sometimes, somebody will give me an idea of something they wanted painted. But for the most part, I just paint what's on the top of my head. I just go with the spirit and go with the flow of it. And I have been able to paint some very dynamic pieces that
Okay.
way.
Have you ever had an exhibit show of any type?
I have. So, actually, when I was, again, back in my 20s, I had a few exhibit shows where we've had vendors come out and people come out to buy the art. And there's a young lady by the name of Nicole Malcolm. She's an amazing artist. And then there was another gentleman by the name of Alan Moore. We actually put a show on together and had all our work exhibited in
Okay.
Bronzeville. So,
Yeah. A friend of mine, she has a art gallery in Hyde Park, Brownsville area. Miss Jennifer Bridgeford. Yeah, you
Okay.
familiar with Jennifer Bridgeford?
I am
Okay.
not.
Yeah. So I don't know what her married name is now. She just recently got married over the pandemic, but she has been big into galleries and things of that nature. So the transition from going from Canvas to doing it all on IT, as a graphic designer, I know you don't have the same tools available when you do it with computers, or do you?
So it's definitely a different scope um, of creativity. So I went to school for design. So mixed media, when I say mixed media art on canvases for me, I just think my whole life is mixed media. Because when I was painting, I was doing websites. I probably did all of the flyers and logos for like a lot of the major comedians and artists and businesses out here. So I had some major clients that I did their marketing campaigns and design work for. So in the midst of having my fine art career, I also launched my business Undiscovered, which is my graphic design business. And in Undiscovered, you got fine art, you got design, and then you had the event planning.
Okay. So you do a little bit of everything. One stop shopping. Yeah. Yeah, that's what's up. And it's amazing, you and I have been talking for, since last week, and you were mentioning all of the things that you do, and I'm like, she ain't got no life, because she's doing some of everything. She working a 9 to 5, and she's raising children, and then she's got a business where she buys and fixes up Airbnbs, so you got the real estate thing going, and then you also do trading. We're going to talk about that in the second half, but I'm just giving people a sneak preview on what's going on. um
Yeah.
okay, so Jed has a question. He says, mixed media, how about surrealism? Def checking out your art. Love your energy. Okay. So he doesn't have a
Thank
question.
you.
But
Thank
he
you.
does ask the question about surrealism.
Yeah, I have a few pieces. If you actually look on a gallery page on my website, I would say that's surrealism also. If you're thinking about, a starry night or something like that, I would consider that surrealism. So I guess that could fall into play. There are some realist types of paintings that I do, but the mixed media part of it again is like I might paint a woman's face, but then there's texture in her flower. I painted a woman's body before, and it was a scratch and sniff. I've added. There's definitely texture always going to be that. That's my style. So that's like my signature. That's how you know that's my piece of art.
Yes. Okay. So I'm not gonna touch that scratch and sniff part because everybody knows me.
It was a bit raunchy.
Yeah, people were like, he got his opening. There you go.
And you know what? It's so funny because I won't even say it's funny. It's amazing because I painted a lot of black
Okay.
women, and you would think that those that art was purchased by black women, but actually other races were the ones that really appreciated and would send me pictures of I got this in my living room. This is in my bathroom, and again, it's amazing
Yeah, it don't
how it
surprise me.
it gravitates to different
Yeah, it don't
races.
surprise me. They've been trying to be with black women since the beginning of time, but and that might be the closest they can get. So do you still do canvas art or visual arts?
I haven't. Okay, I have this mass painting that I've been working on. A friend of mine is gonna kill me if he hears this, but I'm supposed to paint this dragon, but the painting is like this big, and I've actually been building the bones in it. So building the bones has been the most difficult part of it because then you have to paint so many different layers on top of that. But the dragon is the one that I've been working on. I think once I finish that up, and then I get into this other thing that we're going to talk about on the show,
Mm-hmm.
then I'll have a specific area to actually paint and do more things in.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's good. So you're eventually gonna get to his painting and finish it.
Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah.
will.
Okay. There you go.
I got to get these rehabs done first.
Okay. All right. So now, you say you went to Chicago State, and you know, when did you come out of Chicago State? Because we have friends of the show that have worked
When
with
did I come
that worked at
out?
Chicago. Okay.
2005? I think wait, 2006. I don't remember. It was a long
Okay.
time ago.
All right, 2000 ain't that long ago. Okay, but yeah, I used to work there myself back in the days, and when I say back in the days, I'm talking about back in the 70s and 80s. So that's how far back.
Oh, I wasn't even born.
Yeah, yeah, rub it in, rub it in.
I'm just joking.
You know, Karen said, I have stayed at her Airbnb, beautiful home. Be sure to check it out. So we're gonna talk about that in the next half hour. But I wanted to talk
Okay.
about, you know, some more of your creative side. Now, just like
Okay.
you said on your website, you have some of your art. Now, do you display some of your art that's available for people to, like, say, for instance, you might have another scratch and sniff over there in the corner somewhere. You know, would a person be able to, you know, say, "Hey, I want to buy this one."
So I haven't displayed any of my fine art, but I actually have another component of design that I do,
Okay.
which is on Etsy, where I make these graphic images and I sell these graphic images around the
Okay.
world. So one of the things I did was when Kobe passed, a lot of people were asking me, "Can you make a Kobe, memorial design?" Well, I made this design that actually was in Germany, and it was in France. It was all around the world. People were posting it.
Mm,
So I do sell my design work there. I also make designs that people purchase and put on what they call sublimation cups and shirts. So there's this whole sublimation community where I create these amazing designs and they can purchase them on my Etsy shop. And then lastly, since you're saying while you're on the subject of, displaying and selling, twofold. So once my second Airbnb that I'm, remodeling is up and running, the artwork that's going to be on the wall there would be for sale.
okay.
And then also the community center, when that's completed, there will be artwork on the wall there for sale as
Okay.
well.
So where's your community center going to be at?
It's going to be in South Holland,
Okay, so it'll be
Illinois.
in South Holland. And how far away from you completion on that?
So we're still in design and development
Okay.
phase. It's been going back and forth with the architect and also the city of South Holland. So that's coming soon, but it will be a co-working shared office space. So um, in light of the community center, it's for entrepreneurs to come together, get together, and work with one another, build with one another, and educate one another.
So would you say it's along the mindset of like an incubator type situation? Everybody has their expertise and they come and they work and try to help put all of the resources necessary in one place to be, everybody can work with one another.
There's so many different names. We can call it an incubator. Some people might want to just have a space where they can get out and be on their own or get away from the kids, or they're tired of working from home. So they'll come to the space and, book a private room or something like that. So and then there will be opportunities for people to educate one another. And, there are so many grants and opportunities out there, but a lot of times people need someone to kind of hold their hand through the process when it's new. So that's going to be the place to go when you need that education.
Gotcha. So now you say you have done many websites, so you still build websites?
No, I don't have the
Okay.
time. Yeah, some people have been asking me, and I might go in and do some updates for some people, but websites is very time
Yes.
consuming because you have to look at there's an engineering aspect to it. How do you want this to function?
Mm-hmm.
What is your sitemap going to look like? How do you want to navigate through this website? How do you want your customer base to understand what you're trying to portray?
Mm-hmm.
So that's a whole monster in itself. But actually, I'm putting together a team of individuals that are well versed and understand what my vision is for a website. Again, that's coming soon, along with the co-working location.
Okay.
So
All right. So you ain't got time for folks on their websites right now. Uh, you know.
I listen, I need an assistant. And once I get somebody, that I can have and, rely on to help me with some of these ventures and opportunities, then we can educate them, create jobs. I mean, that's the goal.
hmm
I don't want to be the person that has to do everything, but I am blessed and grateful that I have the knowledge to have some sort of understanding. But my goal is to educate people so that they know how to, what they say, get the bag on their own, or they can partner with me and we get the bag together, and we have a greater reach. So
Yeah. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. I think I saw some information that said you did some modeling too.
yes.
Okay.
So I used to model with Elite. So Elite was one of the top modeling agencies in the world. Um, I've also done so many fashion shows. I actually did I kind of retired from that, and then there were a couple of opportunities that came up. So I modeled some furs and things like that every now and then. But yeah, that I had a small little modeling career that was jolted due to having kids and being a wife and a mom back then. I'm divorced now, so
Okay.
but back then,
Yeah.
obligations.
So, have you ever done any television or movie or anything like that?
Yeah, also for on television, I actually been featured on Fox News a couple of times for my business,
hmm
and I've done some shows where they televised us, and just some runway opportunities. Now, I actually, I was actually invited on to the America's Next Top Model show.
Okay.
I was, picked, but again, being a wife and a mother, you know, my ex-husband was like, no, not happening. You gone too much already as it is. So
Okay. Yeah. So you with that as being part of your repertoire, you've kind of put that on the back burner. Will you ever bring it back out again since the husband is gone? So I'm sure you can bring back a whole bunch of stuff that you wasn't allowed to do earlier.
oh yeah, you know what? I think that, I don't know if that's my speed right now. So I go through these phases, and right now my phase in life is the creative. Let me stage this house, interior decorating.
Okay.
Like, I'm not afraid to put my gloves on and work. I've laid floors before. I know how to paint walls and things like that. So building a real estate portfolio is what's important and what's exciting to me right now, because that's something that can be passed down.
Okay.
So legacy items is what I'm moving towards right now.
Great segue. So let's talk about that. So you've got one, or do you have more than one Airbnb at the moment?
I
You
have
have
two.
two Airbnbs, primarily in the suburban area, South suburban area.
Yes.
And now, what got you into that? What made you decide to get into that?
I've always been a creative person, and actually, I had been looking to buy. I was looking to buy buildings in the city of Chicago a few years ago, and I think I put in about 17 bids, and I kept losing the bids because everyone wanted to outbid me. And actually, a good friend of mine was like, "Hey, we had a conversation like, hey, let's get a house out here and do an Airbnb. You should put an Airbnb out here."
Mm-hmm.
And long story short, the house that I bidded on, we were able to get. And to be honest with you, every house that I have bidded on during this pandemic, I have gotten.
Okay.
So, and I was not bidding over asking. It was always under asking.
Okay.
So I think God wanted me to wait. God wanted me to do something that was close by so that I could really understand the business and understand how to make it a successful and dynamic business. So,
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
and that's, you know, the biggest challenge is finding a good contractor.
So I take it you don't want to do all the hammers and nail stuff yourself. You just want to do the
I mean,
interior.
I want to have a skilled. I want to have a skilled. I can. I don't mind doing work, but when you're buying $250,000 houses, you need to have somebody that's a skilled tradesman,
Yeah,
and I need
yeah,
a skilled
yeah.
tradesman.
That's true. Yeah. So, what is your goal as far as how many Airbnbs and how many properties you want to have in your inventory? To operate under that type of endeavor.
So my short-term goal is 14, and I base my goals are based on the revenue stream that is coming in. And then the second tier of that is education.
Hmm.
So when I get into something, when I tell you I study each piece of it, I study and I have to have an understanding of the pros and the cons of everything, and what to do if there's a mistake, and what to do, to scale. And my next goal with that is I've been blueprinting everything that I do. I even have a blueprint on where to get the furniture, the supplies, and everything you need to start the business. So the next piece is the education part,
Mm.
where I'm going to be selling services or selling packages that tell you how to get into this business.
Okay. So most of the places that you have in your inventory, you said two that are up and running now. What are they? 2 bedroom, 3 bedroom? They're houses, they're apartments. What are they?
So I have houses right
Mm-hmm.
now. The one of them is a two-bedroom, one bath, but the income generating on that one house is probably the income of maybe three houses.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a four-bedroom, three-bath house. So um, it's they're pretty nice. They're different in totality, but again, it's the same blueprint.
Okay. So for people that are interested in going down that road, because I can remember talking to people over the last couple of years about they wanted to, get into doing Airbnbs, and then there were so many horror stories that came out of Airbnbs and communities objecting to Airbnbs being in their neighborhood because it was so transient. People come, they're only there for, days, weeks, and then, it allowed too much exposure for that block, for that community. So what kind of, suggestions, recommendations, encouragements that you can offer for people that are interested and then are looking at those type of opportunities?
I actually wrote a whole thesis on that right there.
Oh, did you?
So I did, because you know what? You have to understand both angles. And I tell people in business, you're going to experience ups and downs with anything that you do. And you just have to have an action plan already put in place so that you know how to manage risk. It's all about risk management. And once you understand what the risks are, you'll make decisions that will keep you safe. You'll make decisions that will keep your property safe. You'll make decisions that will keep you, you'll know who to decline. You'll know. I mean, there's been times when I first started where I had people come in, can I have a small gathering? And the answer was always no. And you know, with Airbnbs, and one of the questions you asked, renting versus purchasing, it just depends on your budget, and it depends on, your goal, your ultimate goal. And for me, I wanted to have properties that had equity in it. I wanted to have properties that I have the power and the control over.
Hmm.
Whereas when you're renting from someone, there's the factor of you have to answer to someone else. Now we can, and this will probably be a whole other show where I can tell you the pros and cons of purchasing versus something called rent to arbitrage, where you go out there and you rent places under a corporate lease, and then you now have the right to Airbnb that property. But there's again pros and cons with everything. But in an Airbnb business, from a community perspective, I always see Airbnbs as a benefit if that person stays within the community, because their job and their objective is to keep the property looking its best, because that's how you get paid, but also because you don't want to hear the noise.
Right.
Typically, when someone is coming into your community that doesn't stay there, there's a little less pause when there's a party that happens. Okay, cleaned it up. I don't stay there, and get it back up and running. So that's a whole show in itself. But I definitely encourage somebody, if you want to get into a business that is extremely lucrative and you have that passion for it and you're willing to step in and do the work, go for it. And if you get in and you don't like it, guess what? If you're leasing or renting after your lease expires, get out of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So now my biggest concern would be if you're doing an Airbnb, the insurance would have to be super stupid. Don't they have a special policy for Airbnbs because it's a commercial property? Because you're making money off of it, and you have a high volume turnover with clientele over and over and over again. So I know they have special policies for everything. So I'm sure they got one for Airbnbs. Aren't the premiums out this roof?
Actually, it's not a commercial
Oh, really?
property, it's a residential property because it's the same as you renting your house to someone else, but it's just more on a short term lease. And it's actually better to have a short term renter than it is a long term renter.
Mm-hmm.
And the reasons being is A, if someone is in your space and they're not the cleanest, guess what? They're going to be out in a week or they're going to be out in a couple of days, and you're going to get in there and you're going to make sure that place is ready for somebody else to have that position to come in and rent it. Also, from an insurance perspective, Airbnb actually has insurance over your property.
Mm-hmm.
So when a guest comes and rents from you, they have their insurance is called air cover.
Okay.
So if someone messes something up, I don't care if they burn a sheet, if they break a glass, if they trash a TV, Airbnb is going to cover those expenses so that you can replace it. Again, now there to me there's risk mitigation. um, that property is going to remain, that community, actually that block is going to have that property value still withhold, held up, because the property is going to stay in immaculate condition in order for you to rent to the next guest and command the money that you want. And on top of that, Airbnb is going to cover the cost for any
Yeah.
damages.
Yeah.
So it's a win-win
So,
situation.
so you actually listed with the company Airbnb, and they offer that as a service. Okay,
Yes.
got you. All right, we got a comment here. Victoria's Dedra says Kalinda is a major contributor in the community and being a catalyst to help people develop their ideas, businesses, and can literally construct and outline major steps to take to get there. She is so creative and impactful. So that's not a question. That's just a glowing review.
I love you, Miss Teacher.
Yeah.
So, I mean, one of the things that's important as an entrepreneur is understanding your gifts. And I understand that I have the innate ability. If you tell me what you like doing, or I can observe you, I can tell you how to monetize off it, and I'll give you the steps. So that's one of the things that I have been blessed with. So someone can tell me I like cooking food, and I can give you the steps to how to get your business started, where to go get your EIN number, your LLC number, your any certificates that you need, and who to go advertise to. So that's been something that God has definitely blessed me with.
Well, I'm gonna have to get on your Rolodex then, because I'm gonna have you do a analytical review on me and see what you come up with. Put your eyeballs on what I do and see what you can do to tell me. You know,
Yeah.
Now, in talking with you since last week, I also learned about you that you are a person that is very heavily into the stock market. So let's talk about
Yes.
that for a little bit, because as you well know, I have a sponsor, that helps sponsor my shows, Prince Hunter Financial Group, who offers training and teaching, for people to get started to understand how to get into it. So as a person that is in this marketplace, maybe you can shed some light on how much of an advantage it would be to jump into this with both feet and begin to get some knowledge about it. So let's share some of your experiences.
So I actually used to work for a bank. So that's where I have the the analytical and financial side from. And you know what? With the stock market, you just have to sometimes just jump in. You know, people with anything, there's a risk.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I always say risk management is important, understanding what your risk management is. And for me, I don't mind taking risk because at the end of the day, the higher the risk, the higher the reward.
Yeah, that's what they
Um,
say.
so, so actually in 2018, my cousin and I, Jonathan, we really got into the stock market. We were on the phone with each other every day, reading books, studying, and just calling out different plays that we were doing. And it was for us. It was more of us, family bonding time. Somebody that we both understood the same language, and again, me in my mind, I'm like, hey, we need to start sharing this with the world because it's not enough of us doing this right here, and we're making money. So we started a Facebook page called 6 Foot Six Figures. Yes, I'm 6 foot, I'm tall, but in six figures because our goal was to help people and guide people toward at least getting six figures a year. And in 2018, we started the group. And one of the things that we talked about in the group, other than our plays, was business. So 6 Foot Six Figures was about the stock market, but it was also about what do you do after the market. And in that group, we talked about cryptocurrency. We talked about grants. I would do these live shows and live events where people were able to ask questions, and it was about motivating each other. But then also we used to have training, and it got really big. So we have about 3,000 members in the
Mm.
group, and when I'm talking, they talking, and they're excited. A lot of people made some good money, especially off Dogecoin. That was Dogecoin was like one of those shame coins that no one believed in, and
Mm-hmm.
and it blew up.
Right.
So I mean, it was a lot of fun. It's a lot of we have a Discord now, and people pay us monthly, and we post our plays, and we have conversations with each other. But 6 Foot Six Figures is about the stock market, but most importantly, it's about the education piece of it, and it's about there are people with their expertise levels. There's a good friend of mine, Chris Horton. He's amazing at reading charts and Fibonacci retracement lines and things like that. And then there's Ben. Ben Ben is from Ethiopia, and Ben has some amazing tactics, and he works for IBM, and he's an amazing teacher. And then there's all these other people that are joining with their skills. I focus on the news. I focus on what's trending. I focus on everyday life and how that plays into the stock market. And together, collectively, we put our plays out there. And for me, the stock market is about acquiring wealth from that, and then changing hands and putting that into the real estate piece.
Okay.
So
So basically, with the group that you have, you all call plays. So trades. You'll call them out. Call out who to look at. So to understand that, you will probably have to get some basic knowledge. You just can't jump in there talking about follow step by step because you got to know what you all are doing and understanding what you all are doing in order to be able to follow along. Because if you
yeah.
just say, go buy IBM, okay, and don't do it no less than this amount, then that's not benefiting anybody. So they got to have some knowledge, some basics, like you just mentioned a couple of things about Fibonacci's and charts and things of that nature. So you got to understand how they come into play. So once again, one of the sponsors to my show, Prince Hunter Financial Group, he would be instrumental for somebody that's brand new, that doesn't have any of the skill level that you have. And by the time they start looking at things that you do, they'll be like, "Oh, that's why you did that." They would have an understanding of what's going on. So now,
Oh, it's definitely necessary because it's a whole different
oh
language.
baby, please look, please tell me. I know I tell this story, and I told it to you, and I'm going to share it with everybody. I got into the forex market at one time.
Hmm.
and I lost so much money I cried. I'm like, I just hate losing money, you know.
You gonna lose. I mean, I lost $100,000 in a
Oh,
day.
baby, please.
I've made a quarter of a million in a day also though.
Yeah,
So there's gains, there's losses, and it's gonna happen. It's inevitable. But risk management, being able to sell and
that's
understanding your trade can go to
yep,
zero,
in seconds.
from zero to no, from 100 to zero,
In seconds, right
real quick.
before your eyes. you
Yeah.
know,
But see, it's like again, it's important to know. Like again, are you in it just because you want to say you're trading, or are you in it because you really believe in what you're doing and you're writing down the mistakes that you made so that you no longer make those mistakes, or you make those mistakes less?
yeah,
And that's where it
yeah.
is.
I was teasing, a friend of mine one time. He was inviting me to go with him to the casino and hang out with him. And I'm like, I ain't going in there. Every time I go in the casino, I lose money. I don't buy lottery tickets. I don't do anything that can be considered a high risk gamble. But I understand all of that because I was traumatized, you know, from being in that forex market and losing the money that I had invested into that forex market. Now, I did pretty good with the with Bitcoin. When Bitcoin first came
Okay.
out, of course it was low, and then it went up.
20 cent, a
Yeah, then
dollar.
it went up. So I bought half of a Bitcoin when Bitcoin was $2,000. So
I wish I known you
yeah,
then.
so I bought a half of a Bitcoin, and about a year later, it went up to almost 20,000, 16,000. It was bouncing around that area. So I started taking my money out. I'm like, look, I like this. This is good. And then it dropped all the way back down to 3,000. And everybody was looking at me like, you got me involved in this thing here. And it went all the way down to 3,000. I was like, "Yeah, just hang in there. It's going to go back up." Last year, I think it went up to 60,000 was a high.
It
you know.
did.
So all those people that were sitting up there crying and
So what you trying to tell us? Wait a minute, hold on. What you trying to tell us, Dr. Ron? You got a little stash to the side.
I did okay for myself. I did all right.
Y'all hear that?
Yeah,
Y'all hear
yeah,
that?
yeah.
And Dr. Ron single too.
Yeah, look, they don't even have my phone number. They can't even call me.
Ooh.
But the point of it was is that the markets, just like they have new coins, like you talked about Dogecoin, Ethereum. I remember when Ethereum was 20 cents. Um, I remember,
Shiba
yeah,
Inu. Shiba Inu is not even a
yeah,
penny. Now I just want to shout that one
yeah.
out because they just listed it on Robinhood. So Shiba Inu is supposed to be a Dogecoin killer or something like that. So for $30, you can get a million coins or million Shiba Inu coins. So it's worth the risk because if it went up even a fraction of a penny, you got a few $100,000 in your pocket.
And one of the keys about getting involved with any currency, or whether it be cryptocurrency, or if you're doing the forex market or any stock market, you got to know when to get out. I've seen people. I've got a
Hmm.
friend of mine. He does the stock market, and he watched an investment go up to almost 50, 60, $100,000, and then it started coming down. And he was like, well, I don't know whether to hold it or whether to let it go. I said, how much did you invest in it? So he told me what his investment was. I said, get your money and run. Why would you wait till you have lost money to get off of something that you have made money with? You can always go back in on a trade. There's you know
You
what?
know what? It's FOMO. FOMO kicks
Uh-huh.
in, and I mean it's kicked in with me before. I've watched something do this.
Right.
I think I put $100 in GameStop and it went to 20,000, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna let it go to the moon. No, and ended up pulling out four hundred
Yeah.
dollars. So it happens. That's why it's critical that you practice and then again, when do I want to get out? What am I satisfied with? I don't care if this thing goes to $1 million. What do I want my end game to be?
Yeah, as
So
long as it's in
that's
look, as long
important.
as it's in the plus column, that's a win. You know,
Exactly.
if you're in the
And I have
negative, that's a bad day. You know.
yeah.
So look, we got about 10 minutes left in the show. My how time flies when we're having so much fun.
I
So with
know.
all of the wonderful things that you do, people that are interested in trying to be entrepreneurial and be creative and do things, what would you say to them that would be a good way to start out? I mean, of course, the stock market is going to require some training and skill, and they definitely can't go out and create websites if they don't know what they're doing. So, how would you gear someone? What would you instruct them that would be like, hey, try this?
I'm gonna take it back to basic principles. And I learned this basic principle when I was a kid. My mother ingrained it to me. I learned it in the church. See a vision, write it down. Because the first thing you have to do is understand what your passion is. If you don't have a passion for anything, yeah, you can get in something and make money, but a week or two later, you're not going to love it.
Mm,
I look at what I do, and I am doing everything that I'm involved in involves my creativity, it involves my talent, it involves me helping people. I have a very, I would say, I have a very giving spirit. I love to help people. I love to show people things and understand. I love to help them understand that they have a great potential within them.
mm,
But they first must understand that. Once they write that vision down, and if they need to, you know, pray about it and make sure that's what they're supposed to do, that's next. Then I always recommend you go out there and you educate yourself on the different opportunities in that lane. Uh, Again, there's no need to reinvent the wheel. Go out there. If you want to get into Airbnb, you don't say, oh, I want to do Airbnb, but I want to do it better than Airbnb. I want to do this. No, start at Airbnb. And starting at Airbnb means educating yourself on how to start. You got $5,000 and you want to start off probably in rental arbitrage so you can get your feet wet and start making some money. Or you might want to partner with somebody and you guys buy a property. Again, write down your vision, and writing down your vision will help you to understand what you enjoy doing. Educate yourself, meaning go on YouTube University and look at the millions of people that are doing what you want to do, and then step in, dive, go for it. Start at home. You can make a start a Google page today and build a free website on Google, and you start selling to your family. Now that won't last long, so you got to start building your content. I actually watched a video the other day of a young woman who started her business during the pandemic. She went through a divorce. She had 4 kids, moved back home with her mother, and was on welfare.
mm,
And she ended up taking her stimulus money and starting buying the equipment for a podcast. And now she's making 7 figures a year.
mm,
And this was just a couple of years ago during the pandemic, where she got fired from her job
mm,
and didn't have any income. She was on welfare. So again, she already had talent. If you got a big mouth and you like to talk, then maybe you need to be a host. If you've been through something, we've all been through something. Maybe you might be good at motivational speaking. You love to cook. Maybe you might want to start doing pop-ups, you know, or maybe you want a job. That's another thing I want to point out. Not everybody is meant to be an entrepreneur. There are some people that are meant to work for others, and that's okay. You don't always have to jump into a business, but again, understand what do you enjoy doing so that you can move towards that space, and then eliminating the fear of I'm not going to be able to make it, because when you're moving towards your space, things start happening. And that's a whole other testimony right there. I didn't even talk about how I have a organic body product
Oh
line.
yeah, we got to get that in. I'm sorry, I forgot to bring it up. Oh my
We
good.
might have to just have another show.
Oh yeah, look, that mango body, shea butter, whipped, and all that good stuff.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, my whole life, everything about me is the model of from life for life. Taking what I've not learned, taking what has been blessings to me from, from life and giving it back to life. The old saying is, what you sow is what you reap.
Mm-hmm.
You sow a strong harvest, you're gonna reap a strong harvest. That's true. Like people think it's cliche, but it's so true. What you give, you receive. And that's just something that I have witnessed and I've been able to manifest things that I have received now to this day, not only through prayer, but also through me giving back.
Amen. I like that. I like that. Well, for people that want to get in contact with you, either to do business or consultation of any type, her website is listed right underneath her name there, undiscovered at no, not but .com. You can reach out. Her contact information is on her website. You'll be able to see all of the things that she talked about today, well, a majority of them anyway. And you'll be able to, reach out to her. And she does answer her phone. Now, that's one thing I can say. Sometimes people be so busy they don't even answer their phone, but you answer your phone. I was surprised, that
Oh
that you
yeah.
do.
I hear people saying, "Oh, No, I'm not too big for anybody.
All right.
If I'm busy now, I won't answer. But for the most part, I try to answer.
Yeah, and definitely a shout out to Miss Karen Abbott. She put us together. Karen Abbott Trimmel. I better not leave off that last name, boy, because she'll whoop me.
Please
She'll
don't.
whoop me, boy. I tell you. And I tell you, she knew what to do. She put us together. So I don't know what the underlying field goal is gonna be, but it's gonna be a field goal, touchdown, something gonna happen. So we're gonna have to work
You
on it.
know
Go
what?
ahead.
You know what? That actually brings up a really great last point, and that is partnership,
Mm-hmm.
partnering, because partnership is what brings things together. Partnership is how we get connected. Partnership is how we grow much larger than where we are. So, I'm thankful for my business partner, but I'm also thankful for the business partners that will be sent my way, and new developing ones. So, definitely want to give a major shout out to Karen. She's like, people need to hear more about you and what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, you need to brand yourself. You're branding this other stuff. Brand
There
yourself.
you
So
go.
Karen, kudos to her.
Yes, yes. Well, look, we got a couple of minutes left before the show is over with, and I always like to ask this question, two questions. The first question is, will you come back and visit with me again? All right,
Absolutely.
good.
I listen. You're the Bitcoin millionaire.
Oh Lord, Lord, Lord. It's all
No,
don't
definitely.
believe the hype, y'all. You know. And the second thing I like to always ask people is, what would you like to leave with the people before we get out of here today?
Just don't be afraid to pursue your dreams and your visions. Like me, as you notice, I'm a single parent mom, and my son, I have a 16-year-old son with autism, and I can make every excuse in the world as to why I can't get up and manage a job. And I'm still in corporate America, so I work for a real estate company. So if I had excuses and I could say, you know what, I'm just gonna sit in the house and just work on, my job and I don't want to do anything else, would I be successful? Maybe, but not as much as I am now. Would I be fulfilling my dreams? Would I be feeling fulfilled inside? No. So just never be afraid to move forward and pursue what you think is going to be great for you. Don't listen to what other people say.
Amen. I like that. I like that. And thank you for sharing all of those gold nuggets that you have shared with us today. So I'm going to ask that you stay right there. Don't go nowhere. I'm going to put you back in the green room, so don't go nowhere. Yep.
Bye.
All right. All right. I want to invite everybody to come out and hang out with me on my Facebook, YouTube Live, Thursdays at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time on Street News Now. We have a great show over there. I tell you, six guys and you do not want to miss any of the action that goes on that show each and every Thursday. Also, I have a show that I do each and every Saturday at noon from the desk of Dr. Ron. I tell you, questions are coming in. We're going to be addressing these questions one at a time and feeding out good information to everybody. So you don't want to miss that show at all. And last but not least, I want to invite everybody once again to go back over to my website, ask-dr-ron.com. Please check out all of my advertisers, everyone that helped make it possible for us to do what we do here. You can still make contributions. Everybody that has made contributions up to this time, I want to thank you. Please keep making contributions. Your contributions are needed. We need your support. Please go all the way up to the top and click on the YouTube channel and subscribe, like, and share. Tell everybody about what you see and see what we're doing over here. We appreciate everybody, and once again, shout out to Miss Kalinda. She was a great guest today, first time on the show, and it will not be her last. We're gonna keep on bugging her and make her come back and tell us some more good stuff. But until next week or later this week, Thursday, don't miss the show on Thursday. You guys stay tuned because we got good stuff going on. Appreciate you. Love you. See you soon.